Hello, everyone. Welcome to GitHub Constellation India. Happy to be here. Today, I'll be talking about GitHub for managers. So, let's get started. So, let's just get started. You'll be seeing few GIFs from the popular web series because I do not want to bore you with all the content. I just want to have this with some kind of entertainment and action packed. So, let's get started. So about me, my name is Vinith Pothlapati. I work as a product manager at Timescale, known for the time series database and for the observability one-stop shop for all your observability data. I work as a product manager for the observability applications team, which is responsible for products like PromScale and TOBS. I'm also a maintainer for OpenTelemetry operators, so I take an active participation in the upstream projects. Previously, I worked for Kubernetes, Cortex, Open Policy Agent, and Virtual Kubelet. So currently, I am all my bandwidth for the upstream is for only for the Open Telemetry project at the moment. So if you are in the Open Telemetry space or using or contributing to the Open Telemetry, feel free to reach out to me. And in my free time, I enjoy cycling and tasting whiskies, but not at the same time. Uh, yeah, let's so that's all about me, and let's just jump into uh, the actual content. So first thing first, this talk, I'll just put the expectations right from the stock. So this talk isn't about selling GitHub for managers. Uh, uh, so it's not about selling GitHub for managers. It's more about advocating and recommending the true potential of GitHub for managers, how managers can leverage the GitHub. So this is all my personal experience as a manager. How do I engage and leverage GitHub as a platform? So this talk will be the walkthrough of all the features I have leveraged as the manager and how you as a manager can leverage this GitHub for in your daily tasks. So firstly, let's understand what is GitHub. So if you're coming for the talk for GitHub for managers, I'm pretty sure you might be new to GitHub. So GitHub, at its core, is a code hosting platform for version control and collaboration. So it lets you and others work together on projects from anywhere and primarily built for developers. So you can think GitHub. Similar to GitLab if you're using GitLab or Bitbucket or any other version control system, but GitHub is a part of it and also a superset of what a version control system can offer. So it's much more than just a code hosting platform today. So it has grown massively from last couple of years. So we'll be talking about how we can leverage such features. So you can see here in the high level what GitHub has to offer. It offers you the collaboration, bug tracking, branches, GitHub repositories, team management, product management, code hosting, tracking and assigning the tasks. So these are few parent level things, but if you go under the hoods, there are many things that you could leverage using the GitHub. So let's see. Who are the targeted audience? So in this talk, the title itself says is GitHub for managers. So primarily our audience are managers. So again, in managers, there are many type of managers like product managers, engineering managers, delivery managers, sales managers, customer success managers. So there are many managers. So today we'll be targeting more of the technical side of the managers, but at the end, I could give some hints or shed some light on if you're any kind of manager, how would this features as a whole fit into your use cases? So that's how I'll finish the talk by connecting the dots between the management and the tasks you do on a daily basis. So GitHub. So let's go from basic to the advanced level of how GitHub has evolved and how, as a manager, you can leverage from the basics to the advanced level. So GitHub is purpose built for developers. I can definitely say that it's not purpose built for managers or any other individuals. It's primarily built for developers and offers a version control system. It's a home for all the code that developers build. So if you say what is GitHub at its core or its baseline, it's the home for all the codes that developers build. So everything beyond the version control system is powered by the code. The actual content sits into the GitHub. And third one is it's easy for collaborative work, for doing reviews, issues, and discussion. So if you want to uh, do anything around this code, that hey, there is a specific issue, hey, you need to review this is not going good, or you want to discuss on something that hey, why we have used a specific dependency or why not another dependency, and blah blah blah. Like GitHub just gives you that ability to collaborate, discuss, and manage all the work that needs to get into this code bases and repos. So, lastly, the platform can be used by any other content outside code like docs, design, prototypes, or anything that needs storage and collaboration. Think GitHub outside um, the developer use cases or code use case as your drive, your Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive, how you use it. So it's all about storing, collaborating, and having an iteratively incrementing the content which you have stored in the drive. So it helps you to do that. So that's all GitHub if you see beyond code and developer use cases. So why do managers need GitHub? So we have been, as a manager, we have been dealing with so many tools today. Like if you are a manager, you might be knowing the Jira or Notion or Slack. Like you have many things to collaborate. It's like you haven't heard or haven't seen how GitHub could be your centralized place to collaborate with all the customers, engineers, and how you do planning and everything. So that's what we'll be discussing today: managers and GitHub. So managers work in at the core. If you see the managers work in an intersection between product and engineering that revolves around the code base, and that sits in the version control system and assets that need collaboration from different stakeholders. That's how I see the manager's role in a day-to-day life. So you sit an intersection of multiple stakeholders, and all these multiple stakeholders will be working on code design, customer success, or product requirement doc. So there are many things. So many. The more stakeholders, the more content, and the more tools you need to collaborate with. Um so that's how the collaboration and the intersection works. And the next thing is that managers are all about product, engineers, releases, customers, backlog, and etc. So there are many things you want to do. So, for example, you want to do backlog grooming, or you want to understand the state of your project, how it evolves over a period in time, or you want to see that what is the current state of execution of the team, or how quickly are you responding to your SLOs or the issues which have been created by the users. So think of it a single place where everyone can collaborate with to discuss and to get things done. So managers can use GitHub. So primarily today, this talk will be talking about what kind of works that managers can achieve using GitHub. So managers can use GitHub for project management and team management. So I see these are two major chunks of works of managers. And when it's GitHub, you know that definitely there is some code or a product that involves code is part of it. So that's the reason I'll be targeting more on the project management and team management. And at the end, as I gave a heads up at the beginning, so all the other kind of management work will be given a slight hints and will connect the dots at the end. So project management, so we all know that what project management is all about. So it's about it's about sprint planning, it's about seeing the execution of the sprint, it's about seeing how, when, and how can we do the releases, and how can we do the distribution of the releases, and how can we do this backlog grooming and everything. So everything that revolves around the product, and managing the product with all the different stakeholders is about project management. And firstly, we have the sprint planning that GitHub Project Board offers to you. So, using the GitHub Project Board as a manager, you can definitely do the sprint planning and get the project boards right. So, you don't need to have a separate tool to do this project management or sprint planning for your teams. All you have to do is you have the code and everything sitting in the same place, and you have issues created there, you have epics created there. So it's just one tab in the same product. You'll have another tab which will offer you this project boards, and all you have to do is import these issues and epics that your engineers are working on to get the complete visibility into your project board. So even if a developer is working on a pull request, or if a design team is working on some design prototype, all you have to do is create an issue and track it in your project board. So it's as easy as that. So let's do a quick demo by jumping into this project board and doing a walkthrough into this project board. So I have a project board. So this is a very popular open source project called Kubernetes, which has massive collaboration from developers all over the world. And you can see the stars. It's like 88K stars, which means you can see the love that Kubernetes as a project is receiving. So firstly, the project in this here you see it. You have your code. You have issues here. You have this pull request here and actions, and here you have this projects. So this tab is all about the project boards and sprint planning. So if you open here the projects, so there are multiple project boards for Kubernetes as a repo. Here we have CRA, UX docs, build implement. So for other projects you might find more project board based on the collaboration and how they want to do the planning. So if you open the workloads as the project board, so here this is completely built by the this project owners, the Kubernetes owners, that what is the bucketing they want to do in the project board. So they have something like freezer, which have been freezed or stopped, blocked for some reason, and you have a backlog which needs to be worked in the coming days, and you have what is the in progress. So what is the work that's being carried out in the workloads area, and what has been done. So here you could see the labels, how what are how it's when it is being done. And if you want to just jump into the issue and see that who has collaborated, and to understand what is the discussions around this specific issue, all you have to do is click here and it just jumps to that specific issue, and you can see track when was it started, how did it end. So this is about the project board, and this is all customizable. You can create new bucketing, you can create new rows, columns for you yourself, how it works for you. And you can do this full screen, and even the you can change the visualization from project boards to rows and everything. So it offers all kind of flexibility for you. And the filtering option is really good with GitHub. You can filter based on labels or the authors of different things. So that's all about the project boards from GitHub. So let's jump back to my slides. The sprint planning using GitHub project board. And the next slide is the product docs. So here in the product docs, the next use case is the product docs. Here you could see if you're doing a project management, you definitely have some product docs to understand what's the context of the specific feature. If before doing the sprint planning, or we have something in the project management called epic kickoffs or a feature kickoff. So when you do this, you have massive big documents that that illustrate the product docs for you, which puts complete content on who are the targeted audience, what are the goals, what are the non-goals, and how do you achieve it, and what's the scope of the specific feature in the product, and what is the end goal you are seeing in the next iteration of the specific feature. How does this product or a feature meets the local goals of the team to the global goals of the company. So all this content will be in the product docs, and you could with all this content you could see how important are the product docs. So now you want to put this product docs in a place where all the stakeholders who work on this projects could look at them and collaborate on them. So this is the product docs. We will also see the demo collectively. I'll just go to the next slide and we'll see all together in one place. So here we have design doc. So we have one as a product doc that product managers work on, and you get the product requirements. And now you have the design doc, the technical design doc, that why is a specific schema built? Why is the specific dependency used? How do we see the future of this feature to evolve? And what kind of technical debts that have been created while achieving this feature? And what are the trade-offs that we have done? And what are the APIs that have been built? What are the notes or heads up information while building this kind of feature? So all this information again is too opinionated and targeted to the technical audience, but we need a home for this kind of docs. We uh, i do not i personally do not like, but most of them do this way, that we have this project, the code repository, the project in in the GitHub, and you do the project planning, the sprint planning, everything in Jira or some other project boards, and you have all these documents like product docs, technical design docs in Google Docs. So you need to jump between different platforms, different tools to understand, okay, uh, this is the project, and this is the project board, and this is the content that drives the project boards, which is product docs and technical docs. With GitHub, you can add everything into the same platform. All you have to do is create a separate folder in the same repository saying that, hey, these are our product docs, these are our technical docs, and you can just list them as a files, and everything sits in the same place. And it could also go through the discussions, collaborations from the team, because as the team actively works on GitHub repositories, and all the assets and content sits in the same project. So the other thing is about delivery and releases. So once we have achieved a feature and the development is done, it's all about releases. So how do we release a specific project, a specific feature? So releases is not just about cutting the releases, but when you talk about releases, it's about adding the milestones, tracking the milestones. Are we achieving the releases in the planned timeline with milestones and everything? So GitHub also offers you this features of for tracking the milestones, and how do you do the releases with this milestones, and making sure that all your checkboxes are filled before you go to this releases. And then you have the release note. So once you have done the release, you need to communicate with your users that what does this release specifically contain, where can use the user, uh, if your repository is all about publishing the packages, the users do not have visibility on what does this release actually contain. With GitHub, you also have release notes with the tag. So here you can read what exactly the specific release contains, what are the breaking changes, improvements, and everything and beyond the release. So you have the release notes feature here to understand what does a specific release contain. And GitHub also offers you the distribution with GitHub packages, like uh, you know that this project sits in this repository in the open source or in the private, and you know you want to distribute this project to your stakeholders. While you're distributing this to your project holder stakeholders or the consumers, all you have to do is publish these packages. So GitHub offers you publishing of packages for containers. You can do this images, Docker images, or all this containerized images to in the GitHub itself. You can publish these images, or you can do this npm packages, Maven, Ruby gems, anything. So all the supported packages are listed here, and you can publish all the packages for your project in this tab called packages. So as I said before, everything sits in the same platform and the same repo. So this is this, and also as you have many stakeholders that work into the GitHub repository, and you have stakeholders like doing the code, design, project management, creating the issues, doing the backlog grooming. So at the point you want to understand what is the state of this repo, how could you gauge how is the team overall performing with the project as a whole. So here you could see that how many pull requests have been created, what are the issues, and how many people are collaborating on it. So it's an eagle's eye view on how is your state of the repo performing. And you could see this is all about pulse, and you can also jump into the contributors, uh, commits, insights, traffic, and everything. So this offers you all the insights you need. And here, as I told in the previous slide, it's about contributors. You could see who are the top contributors to your projects and how many commits they have done so far to your project. So if you are a manager, this kind of insights would definitely help you to understand how are people working on the projects, and who are engaging more with the project. And here you could see the overall insights into the code, that how is the repository commits over a period look like, and issues, packages, and everything as a whole. and you also have GitHub Actions. So as a manager, you want to understand, you want to have a visibility that is everything in your repository working as expected. So if something is changing in the repository, that means there is a probability or a possibility that a specific thing can break. As a manager, how could you ensure that whatever has been built, shipped a couple of months back or years ago is working as expected, and you could have that confidence with your users. So all you have to do is your engineers needs to build this end-to-end test so that there will be GitHub Actions which will be running every night. So this are called nightly tests which will be performing, and you could just open this GitHub Actions, and here you could see all the workflows that will give you the high level information that, hey, the specific feature has been tested last night and it works as expected. So every day you have that conformance test which give you the confidence on your product and features that, hey, everything is working as expected. So this is all about GitHub Actions for managers. So you could definitely leverage with this. So before we jump into the team management, so we have completed the project management. That is one of the tasks of the managers, and next we'll be jumping into the team management. Before we jump on to this, I'll just give you a quick demo on all this. So just give me a second. So here we have this doc. So this is a product doc from the Kubernetes. Again, they call it KEPs, which are Kubernetes enhancement proposals. So here you could see all the requirements, the goals, non-goals, the design docs, and all this document sits in the GitHub repository itself in another repository called enhancements. So it's easy for all the stakeholders in the project to jump and to navigate between different gaps. So here you see there is a special interest group auto scaling. It has all its design docs and the product docs sitting here, so you could just jump into them and check. So the same works for the design docs as well, which we discussed. And if we just go to the Kubernetes as a project here, so we could just see how does the releases and milestones work as a whole. So we have the pull request here for the Kubernetes as a project. And in pull requests, you could see that what are the pull requests that have been targeted or tracked for a specific milestone. So just give me a second. Here you could see all the contributors that are contributing to the project. And once you open here the milestones, so here you have all the milestones that are being tracked for a specific release. So I've just filtered on a milestone of 1.16, and as 1.16 milestone is already done, so there is no pull request open to track this milestone. But you could see you could just filter with closed. So all the release that 1.16 milestone will have will be closed, and you could see these all have been targeted for 1.16 release and are part of the release. So this is how you could track the milestones. And here you could see the releases of the Kubernetes project, which we have discussed how the releases are managed. So you have a releases tab here. So once you click on the releases tab here, you could just jump and check on how the releases as a whole are performing. And here you could see the GitHub packages if any packages are published. So this is all about the releases and GitHub packages. So this is about the releases 10 days ago. The Kubernetes RC releases have been started publishing, and you could see the release notes and everything here, the change log and everything. So this is how the GitHub projects help you with the distribution releases and packaging your project as a whole. So let's jump back to the slides and go continue with the team management. So going to the next slide, let's do the team management. So this is a fun part where in project management, it's all about you, and most of the it's all about the content which sits in the GitHub or in different platforms. So you're just grouping all the content into one platform. But with team management, it's all about dealing with different stakeholders and how do you create the visibility to the team that, hey, this specific thing is here, and how do you notify them. So the first thing that team management requires is the team specific docs, the product wiki. So if someone is getting started, if someone is doing some releases, if someone is doing troubleshooting. Where does your runbook sit and everything? So in GitHub, you could also create the wikis. So there is a tab for each project called wikis, where you could create, consider this wikis as like the Wikipedia of your project. It gives you the ability to create different pages and group them as a book of your project to understand, hey, if you want to do a release, you could just jump into this file. If you want to troubleshoot your project, you could do this. So GitHub also offers you this wiki. It's like a book for your project, and you could add all the content that your team and product requires for collaborating. And the collaborative discussions. So GitHub also offers you a tab called Discussions, GitHub Discussions, and this is all about you could create announcements, you could create the polls, you could create something which needs a discussion and agreement from all the stakeholders. So all you have to do is create a discussions with all the content you want to propose, outline the content in the first message, and rest all it will be like a thread. Consider it as Slack threads. So if someone replies, you could start a thread with that reply. Whereas with GitHub issues, it's all about like a WhatsApp, right? You just message, and then it's all about messages. The thread just continues down. There is no reply specific to a message in the GitHub issues. Whereas with GitHub discussions, you could discuss and collaborate with all the stakeholders, and you could start threads with each reply or with each comment that is received in the discussion. So that gives you much more control over the discussions and how is the discussion progressing overall. So this is about runbooks. So if you like, this has been the most common practice that I've been seeing with many projects, open source projects especially. So if you have a project and for some reason you need to troubleshoot it, or you have some issues with the project, you need to have this guides that how do you troubleshoot it, how do you get the platform back to this stable state if it's not working as expected. So you could create a folder in your repository called runbooks, which is about troubleshooting, diagnosis, trying to understand, okay, prompt scale cache too small. Like, when does this happen? What is the meaning of it? And how could it impact you? And what is the diagnosis that you could do to mitigate this kind of issues? So you could add runbooks, which would give all the visibility you need, and if something is missing in this, it could also go through iterative development from different stakeholders that, hey, we have added something new and this needs to be updated accordingly. So that's all about runbooks and integrating it to Slack. So now you have seen there are so many features in GitHub, and you want to understand, hey, there are specific, a new issue has been created, hey, a new pull request has been created, hey, a pull request has been in review state for more than 10 days, or hey, a specific release has been cut. Here you could see that if you are integrating Slack with GitHub, you could get all these messages. So this is our internal message from our prompt scale repository that, hey, we have a pending review on timescale. Our prompt scale repositories on these issues, and it also tags the respective people who are responsible for unblocking the specific issues. So you could also use GitHub and Slack with integrations as a manager to notify the different stakeholders in your team that, hey, the specific thing has been blocked or waiting for your review for a long time. So this is about integrating to Slack. So as this is today in the talk we have discussed what is GitHub in general and how it could bridge the gap between the different stakeholders and the manager. How can a manager engage every day, both in project management and team management, with different features and capabilities offered by the GitHub? But now, as my title says, managers is much broader. It could be sales managers, it could be customer success managers, it could be delivery managers, anything beyond the project management and team management. So I just want to give the high level information that if you could be any other managers, and you could leverage GitHub. So it's all about, you could use GitHub like a drive. You could store all your team's content, like one-on-one reviews to the people that report to you, or agreement and consensus that has been received from the different stakeholders. You could place them into the GitHub drive for easy collaboration and for future reviews. So you could be any manager, but you could leverage this basic functionalities of GitHub. And the second thing is about anything that needs to be collaborated with others to review, update the content iteratively. So let's say you're a customer success manager and you have a doc. You need to update it as you do customer calls bi-weekly or every month. and this doc needs to be updated as you progress there. So it's all about you create a file, basic file saying that, hey, this is my ex customer and I want to add all the meeting notes that have been discussed between them, between the customer success manager and the specific company. So as you progress with the multiple calls, your dog just grows. So all you have to do is keep committing to that specific file, and this file just grows over a period like 1 year down the line. You could a new person could just read complete discussion that how does the interaction go between the company, and how what is the state and health of the specific customer by reading this discussions. So as a customer success manager, you could use GitHub like that. But if you are a designer or if you are a sales manager, anything, you could just relate your use cases and start using these features accordingly that best fits for you. And for discussions with stakeholders, so the GitHub discussions is definitely a great feature, which helps you to notify the other stakeholders and start creating the threads and create polls and get the consensus if you want to deal with it. And you could also leverage these features in the open source community if you want to get some community feedback as a manager that, hey, we have uh, announced a new logo. Do you want to do the polling for the logo? You want to do polling for specific feature requirements? All you have to do is just create the question, and then GitHub takes care of the rest to offer you the platform and capabilities for you. And the last one is about project planning and assigning the tasks for future visibility on the work log. So we have seen the project management. There is this project board, which could give you the future visibility on the work log by a specific stakeholder, like how many tasks that specific engineer has completed. So if you're not using this project board, if it looks too much to for you, you could also leverage this GitHub issue. So all you have to do is, if a specific person is working on a specific issue, you have to create the issue to them and you need to assign. And over a period, once the issue is been completed, the issue will be closed. And if issue is not completed, it will be an open issue forever. And all you have to do is just filter the open issues, close the issues based on a specific person, and you could see all the work logged by the person. So all you have to do is create the issue and start logging it, rather having uh, uh, a plain doc to write what is the work achieved by a specific stakeholder in the team. So this is how you, as an any other manager, could leverage GitHub as a platform. And this is the bonus. So I come from a technical background, so I worked as a software engineer for close to 4 years, and then I moved to this product management. So I could also give you this heads up that if you are this technical manager, you could be a technical engineering manager, a technical project manager, or a product manager, which like at least some part of your work involves with this technical side, how you could leverage with it. So these tools basically help me a lot to find what I need in the GitHub repositories without bothering the engineer. So the first one is that the code search. So all you have to do is, like, for example, you want to understand that there is a new announcement that a specific dependency has come up with CVE, and you already have this GitHub Actions, or you already enabled this vulnerability reporting from your repository. It obviously reports you if there is any CVO in your repository. As a manager, you could track and reprioritize your issues if a specific CVE exists. So you could do that, or in the other way around, you could just open the code search of the GitHub and start searching for the specific keywords that match the specific CVE. For example, if there is an X project, a specific CVE, you start searching for those keywords. Or you want to understand if a specific feature has been deprecated or a specific feature has been dropped, all you have to do is go and search for those keywords in your code repository to understand how did the engineering actually achieve it, to get that high level perspective. It's not about doing this micromanagement. It's more about understanding what's the state of it and how can you plan it forward without bothering the engineering. So if you are a technical manager and if you want to do a quick walkthrough around your code bases, that's definitely a great feature. All you have to do is join the preview of the code search. Currently it's in the preview state, and you need to start just mount your repository to it, and you could directly start searching for the potential keywords you are interested in. So this is one thing as a bonus. And the second bonus for the technical managers is that as a technical manager, I get sometimes tempted, or sometimes I need to fill the shoes of adding a configuration file or adding some docs, or I need to add something technically which is not code, but it revolves around it. I want to recommend a specific configuration to the users, but I want to build it before I do it. So there is all this contributing.md in your repository. All you have to do is change something and run it. But the baseline or the base thing that blocks all the managers is that they do not have this development environments on their local systems. If you are a manager, you do not have all the development environment that is required to run this project. So now GitHub has come with something called code spaces. So it's a remote development environment. All you have to do is that just mount or clone the repository into this remote dev environment, which is provided by the GitHub. And in browser, you could build the project. You could do all what without creating this, installing the dependencies on your system to create this remote developer environment. So the code spaces out of the box gets all the dependencies for you. All you have to do is make the changes and run it and start creating the PRs or commits. So this definitely helps you. It's like you're few steps away from running your project and creating the issues. So this is definitely helpful. You don't need to upgrade or manage your local dev environments. You just create it when you need, and you just shut it down, tear it down after your use case. So it's free, and as the title says, it's blazingly fast cloud developer environments. You could just use it for development purposes. This is the bonus too, and that's all I have for this talk. And I'm happy to be at GitHub Constellation India, and I hope you enjoy my talk. If you have any questions, or if you would like to collaborate with me on this talk or anything, please reach out to me at Vineet in Twitter, or you could find me in LinkedIn also. So if you need anything, feel free to reach out to me. And thank you, and happy GitHub.